Good morning traders, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me John on this Monday the 13th of November. We can see Euro Yen is still the top currency pair to focus on this week. We've got it as S1 on our trend traders table and the Yen is W1. So Euro S1, Yen W1, showing us that we should be continuing to look for longs into Euro Yen at the moment, and we are long at the moment. There are two potential orders that you could have gotten, one last week and one I believe the week prior. The one the week prior is coming up to a 3-to-1, and the one last week is coming into around about a 1-to-1 at the moment. We discussed Euro Oz at one point last week, and that is one to watch from a day trader's point of view. So the Australian dollar fairly weak at this current moment according to the tables, and that we should be potentially looking for that Euro Oz move to the downside. US dollar is S2 at the moment, and we did take a look at Aussie US dollar last week, and we do have an alert set, so we can go take a quick look at that one as well. But we're going to kick it off with Euro Yen, and then we're going to come back to some other charts. So Euro Yen, what we're focusing on at the moment, obviously the daily chart's still fairly bullish here, still happy to hold this. If I go into that weekly chart and just zoom out, the sort of highs there still coming at around about the 169.25, which is still a fair distance away from current price. You can see we're at 162.24. That's the current price that chart partner is showing, so we're still a way off that swing high. Obviously price isn't just going to go in a straight line to that point. That would obviously be very nice, but price at the moment does have a little bit of a sticking point around about the 163. I would zoom in and go back just to show you what I'm talking about there. It's just basically a little bit of a high that formed in here. You can see that there was obviously a pausing point before the market continued to push to the downside there, but the key highs I think are these ones back in July of 2008, obviously before we had that situation go on there. So I still quite like the idea of price reaching that point. We've just got to monitor our trade and be very careful with our trade. We just need to make sure that we're in it for the right reasons and that we still got the bias in our favor, and at the moment it is. The daily chart is technically bullish here. The 8 hour still fairly bullish, 4 hour bullish. We did come into the 1-to-1 target here. We have retraced 11 pips at the moment, but if I was looking at this from a natural progression of a market, you can see we kind of move higher, go sideways, move higher, go sideways, go higher. You know, it's got to move sideways again to then reach that next sort of area of our targets. So that's quite good. The first entry was down through here back on the 8th of November. So if you manage to catch this first entry, you can see that we're back above the 2-to-1 level and we're nearing the 3-to-1. So I think if you did take, let's say you took both positions into that market, I think the clever thing to do would be to close the first one, making sure that you've banked near 3-to-1 profits, and then this one here you can just leave to run, or vice versa. Look at maybe waiting for price to breach here, move towards the 2-to-1, close this one, leave this one, because obviously it's a better return at that point. But I quite like this market to continue to move higher. What we did last week was look to trade basically off this 50 MA from the 30-minute time frame, and that's how we got in. Price did dip below it, and we did get a little bit of a scare on this close, but that didn't really affect the market too much. We went sideways, closed back above the 50 MA again, and then price went off to the upside. So there's obviously still some upside to this market. I'm still happy to hold it. But if you are in that position, you can look at that one. I did take a pound yen long last week. We took 2 longs. I took this one that got stopped out. I took this one here that rallied 2-to-1 and then basically pulled back. I ended up getting out of this one for break even because obviously I had the euro yen risk on as well, and we were looking to potentially get into some other moves. I ended up closing this position at break even. looking back now, price has rallied to my 2-to-1 target again, so I could have left that one in. But if you're in the original position here, you're back at 2-to-1. The original position formed back here on the 3rd of November. So if you was in that one, you're around about, currently you're about 180 pips to the good. So if I just grab a quick calculator here, actually, just so I don't have to do quick maths in front of you on the video. We've got 180 pips here. If you're on Euro Yen, and you took the first and second entry, your first entry, which was I think it was about 50 pip stop loss, you are currently 130 pips up, so 130 pips plus the entry in here you could have as well, which is currently around 60 pips up, so 370 pips up in total on those 3 trades is really not bad at all. Now let's go and have a little look around then. So obviously on the tables, the only highlighted currencies at the moment is euro and yen, so that has changed a lot from this morning. We did have the New Zealand as a weak currency featured as well. We also had the US dollar featured on here, but that has faded now, and we can see that the euro is the only one that's coming out as strong here. So going back into our charts then, we had a look at euro Oz last week. I do quite like the idea of getting long here. My only concern is that we've come into this daily high and we did reject it last week. Doesn't mean that price can't extend through that level, but my theory is I don't really want to buy at highs. You know, this is where I think strong sellers would be, and the reason why I think strong sellers would be is because I think at these type of levels you have one or two, well, you have a couple of different situations going on. Anyone that was long from this support level down through here, okay, they're going to be looking to take profits. Taking profits on those long orders would increase the selling pressure, and then if people come into this area here and want to sell, then they're going to add into those sells as well. So it's going to be a tricky area to try and trade above it. So the only option really we've got is going super aggressive in at this swing low here. So on the hourly chart, it's around about the 167.50. If I actually just move this point up, it's around about that 67.50, that label there, which is a low which formed back on the 10th, and we rallied from that point. We've come back into it, we've breached it, and some buyers have stepped back in. Now I was going to be a little bit aggressive here. I was watching the 5-minute time frame, and I can see that there's a double bottom forming here and a high. I was going to see if price breached the high, come back and retested it, and then I was looking to potentially get long here, because this is the only way I can see us getting into this market fairly safely. So the way I would look at it is, because we were going in a little bit more aggressive, let's say we had something like this in place, I want to see 2 clear closes above and then a move back in, right? So let's say I entered at that high anyway, I could have a 20 pip stop loss and still go for a 2-to-1 target. If I wanted to just increase it along the side of sort of ATRs there, then it's going to be way too much. So if I was looking at the sort of 60 pip ATR range, the 1-to-1 comes in back at those swing highs, and I would rather take a little bit more of an aggressive move there. We obviously don't have to go for 20 pips, maybe even like 30 pips, just to give it a little bit of breathing room and then look for the opportunity. And this is a very aggressive move. I'm going to just put that out there. That is a very aggressive move. The only other thing we can do is, obviously prices come into the average here, closed up. We haven't closed it above it on the hourly, but what you could look for is a break of the hourly high, right? So if you were looking for something like this, instead you could look at an entry above the hourly candle high, stop loss below the low, and look to target up in here. So you've got a 1-to-1 there, 2-to-1 back at those daily highs, and then if it breaches any higher, then everything's a bonus at that point, because you got 3-to-1, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7-to-1 up to this daily swing high, which has gone untested, formed back on the 18th of August at 1.7025. So there is that option there as well. Obviously euro is a strong currency at the moment, so you can see as I'm talking to you now, price is breaching through that level, giving us things that we do want to see from a potential upside move here. You can see the consolidation there. So, you know, looking for a long entry here, I don't think's that bad of an idea. What you may want to wait for, if you want to be super safe for an entry, is wait for the next hourly close. Obviously, we've only had 6 minutes into this hour, and everything can change. You know, price could reject here, push even lower, head towards maybe this swing low down through there. You know, everything can change in that hourly, so you can just have a little wait to see if price does do what you want it to do. 5-minute time frame, you know, it's an aggressive time frame to trade. But if you were looking at it from a point of view that you've come into the key support, you've got the day traders table on your side, if price was to make a new higher high, higher low situation, it could continue to go long. It could go and target all these sort of swing high points where sellers would have got aggressive in at these areas here. If price gets near those, these sellers will have to bail. Okay, so price could move quickly through those points. So that's something I'm looking at. Obviously, if I'm going to take anything here, I'll let you know via the Discord. So make sure you do jump into the Discord channel. Just to talk onto the Discord, actually, let's just bring it in for a quick second. In here, we're going to have a look at the dashboard. We're going to have a look at the dashboard this morning. Let's just see if that euro kind of backs us in here. And now what I can see straight away is that actually the Aussie US dollar forming that strength. So Euro Oz there could be a little tricky one to get involved with. Euro not really showing too much pressure. Pound doing very well as that yen complex, which is something that we definitely want to see. We want to see that yen complex being very strong at the moment. So Euro Oz, like I said, very aggressive entry there. That's something you can look into. Another market we did look at last week was the Australian dollar versus the United States dollar. We were looking at this downward trend here at the time as well, and it's still the same. We've got Aussie as week 1 and the US dollar as S2 at the moment, so we've still got that sort of potential downward play here. On the weekly, we close bearish. We've got these weekly lows down at 0.63 that could be targets. Daily chart at the moment, though, is not what we want to see. I want to see daily bearish closes. We've just had a break of the previous day's high. So I think this market's going to move a little higher. The 4-hour area at 0.64 is where we have our alert set. I would even probably try and look for that 64.20, but I will monitor this here on our trade and alert setup. We talked about having an alert at 6400, selling at 63.90, stop loss above this swing high. So that still gives you a nice risk reward ratio if you're going to try and attempt that one, obviously. But I would probably look a little bit into seeing how it reacts around about 0.64. I quite like the idea of looking at selling where sellers have been active in the past. Sorry, I'm just trying to edit this rectangle here. Sorry, MetaTrader playing up. So that obviously wick high candle that we saw, that sort of high test, very much like this one, is where sellers have got aggressive. Could sellers get aggressive there again, and can that drive prices to the downside? So I think we've still got a good few ones to look at. Euro Oz, obviously, Aussie US dollar, but Aussie US dollar needs to climb a little bit higher there. Euro Kiwi could be really one to watch, because we did have Kiwi as a confluence currency at 9 AM. That has obviously changed since, so you know, that could mean that basically the Kiwi momentum's fading a little bit. But I thought I'd break down this market as well. So we can see, obviously, we've got these daily swing highs in here. I like the idea of price coming in to try and test these types of points. So you've got around about the 82. We could go down to 25. I'm going to round it up to see where 82.50 is. Yeah, I like 82.50 a lot in and around this area. We've then got other highs to worry about. Now, the kind of main swing highs that I would look for is this one up here. And again, nice wick there, caused that downside pressure to follow. That was around about the 21st of August of 2023. If we just pop a little line in there, 84.20. So we could even go maybe even to see where one spot 84 gets us, and it's that start point of that downward move. So 184 could be the overall targets there for price. We can see that obviously we've found some support down through here. We're on that sort of bullish bullish move at the moment. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, fairly bullish here as well. This is why I quite like the idea of price coming to target these highs. We can see sellers being involved there. Hourly at the moment and 30-minute, we don't have an entry. I was looking to see if price could maybe pull back to the 30-minute time frame. So maybe around about this 1.8150 level. Let's just actually pop that in as a sort of point of interest. So in and around those highs there is quite interesting to have a look at. Obviously a lot of rejections coming in here, so that's around about the 180-140 level. So that's a good area to potentially look for price to come back in for continuations. I'll be monitoring that 50 MA in here. From a trend line perspective, I don't think we have anything here. Maybe you could look at the potential from this low to there as a point of interest as well. So maybe a kind of contact point between the 50 MA, the trend line support, and the horizontal support could be a point to see Euro Kiwi push towards this level in there. So I will set an alert just at these highs just to see if we do get back into that point. No big deal if it doesn't, because we've got other markets we can look at. Euro was long above that hourly high, for instance. Aussie US dollar potentially coming back into that resistance level, and we obviously have Euro Yen still on the table. So some to watch going into today. I hope you enjoyed that video update, and I will catch you in the next one.